Hi there. It has been a while, and today I thought I'd talk a little bit more about dating in your 40s. So I have been in Virginia since 2012, and when I moved here, I was not in my 40s, but I had given up on dating. I've had such awful experiences that, yeah, I'm just like, what is the point in wasting my time? So, I had a date Saturday, and what made me go on this date was this person was unlike anyone that I've ever dated. I don't like to say I have a type because if you look at my exes, none of them look alike. But the type is confidence, and they were all successful business owners. I like business owners because they are grinders and they understand. Like, typically, they can be put in the hood or in the White House and know exactly how to act and what they need to be, what they need to do. I don't typically go for the suit and tie type because they don't have that range. At least that's been my experience. I know that's not the case for everybody. I'm sure there's some of them out there, but that's just been my experience. And when you're working in corporate America, or when you work in the eye of the public, typically you're not living for yourself. You're living for your paycheck in a way that's different from an everyday blue-collar type worker. I don't know if that makes sense. I could elaborate to everyone, it might not, but and I could elaborate, but that's not the topic today. Anyway, getting back to the date, it's very different than anybody that I've ever been on a date with before. But I actually had a nice time. The conversation was great, and it's somebody that I see myself being friends with. As far as something serious, I don't see that because we don't share the same goals. And there's just no point in wasting each other's time if we're not on the same page about what we want. So, and that's okay, you know. I'm smart enough to know you can't change people and you can't make them want what you want, you know. So, that's that. The last date I had was in November, and this guy, I'll say he's one of the creatives, has done a role in the movie, no kids, never married, but he desires that and wanted to start immediately, like on the night of the date. And it's like, you know, that's not how that works. We haven't even shared a meal, we just met for drinks. And the place we met at was in a hotel. The hotel had 4 different restaurants in that one hotel. It's known for a gathering spot, have events and stuff like that. So, before you're getting any ideas, that's what that was. But yeah, it was, in comparison, it was one extreme to the next. But yeah, that's just 2 examples. One thing I could say that is different about me dating now opposed to when I was in my 40s. I was willing to take more risks. You know how I'm a very good listener and a very, very good observer, right? And you're supposed to learn from things that you've been through. So, you kind of look for the signs so you don't waste your time. And laugh, for lack of better words, increase your body count. But I would still take certain risks, like, you know, but I would call it a calculated risk. Like, you knew this could be a problem, right? But it could be, it not necessarily is. So let's just see where it goes. And now these are scenarios that are not about compromise. They're about just flat out things that would not make the relationship successful. Does that make sense? So, yeah. But my point in talking about the whole date thing on Saturday was, it was nice. It gave me a little bit more of a renewed spirit with regards to dating. It's still not my favorite thing to do. I feel like quite oftentimes when people are dating, they are showing you a representative instead of just being themselves. And you need to be yourself 100% of the time. None of this fake stuff you're putting on. Of course, you want to make a good impression, but you have to be yourself when you're dating. If you can't be yourself, you need to move on. Don't bother with another date. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be ugly. It doesn't have to be, disrespectful. You don't have to give people the cold shoulder. It's okay to be upfront and say, listen, I don't think this is going to work. Prior to November, the date I had before that, this guy had a business washing cars. He was begging me to wash my car. So I let him wash my car. And he got my number that way. So after he washed my car, he started texting me like on a regular basis. And he lived in a community that was close to mine. And he started freaking me out. Because it was like, as soon as I would get my car in the morning, he would text. As soon as I got home, he would text. And he lived in a community, a high rise across the street from where I lived at. So I was like, is he still like watching me come and go? Like, it started freaking me out. To the point where I even texted him and was like, listen, this is too much. Like, I don't have time to do a lot of texting. I'm not a big texter at all. And my contact with you was for what you asked for, which was to wash my car. And so he was like, well, I really like you and I like to get to know you. So I was like, okay. Maybe we can, and he asked if we can go out. So I finally agreed to go out with him, and I said, hey, let's do Mexican. He was like, cool. So he asked me if I was driving or would we be meeting there. That was not the first red flag, but it's the first. So you tell me, if somebody asks you if I'm driving or if we're meeting there, so that, to me, that sounds like you expect me to come pick you up and we ride together to a hotel. I'm not a car service provider. I'm not going to pick up no man for no date. And that's just out of the question. So that was the first red flag. So we met there, and it was so awkward. He looked very nice, but he stared at me in a way that was like, that made me feel uncomfortable, to be honest with you. He was not very talkative, so I asked questions, and it almost felt like I was interviewing him. And I do feel like it's important to ask questions and essentially interview somebody you're meeting or essentially interested in dating, but it can't be an actual interview. You know what I mean? Like, it needs to flow. The conversation needs to flow. I could tell that he didn't go out much because he had a hard time reading the menu and making a selection on things, which, I mean, it is what it is. So finally I asked him, I said, well, let me ask you a question. He told me he had a child. His child, I think he said his child was like 4 years old. I don't date men with young children because if you didn't marry the mother, women have kids by men, and when there was no intent for marriage, especially when there's no intent for marriage, they make those men's lives a living hell for a minimum of 5 years. It's because in their mind, I think that they think that this baby is going to make this man want to marry them and that's going to create this family. And oftentimes that is not the case. So there's a lot of drama involved. I have seen it firsthand. I can listen to blogs and stories about that too. And I listen. I don't date men with little children. I can't do the baby mama thing. I don't have that type of baggage, and I just can't. And I hate to say baggage, but that's what it is, especially if it's difficult. But I can't. But yeah. So even as he was talking about his son, this guy told me he has 3 jobs. He had a regular 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. He owned a cleaning business and a mobile detailing business, and he works all the time. So I'm thinking to myself, but you got a 4-year-old, so that means that you really have time to spend with this child. Then he tells me, he was like, when I have him, oh my God, he just sucks all of the energy out of me. And I said, how often do you see him? He said, probably every 2 weeks. And in my mind, I'm thinking, here this man is complaining about spending a couple hours with his child every 2 weeks. And this girl has this baby 24/7. I don't know their financial situation or what their agreement is or whatever, but they're not together. And to me, that came off as being selfish. But yeah, so I told him, I said, yeah, well, this wouldn't work because I decided to have kids. It's clear that you don't want any. And then he tried to backtrack. Well, that's not what I'm saying. No need to backtrack. And I told him this. I said, that's okay. I mean, but I wouldn't want a man to say, okay, I'll give you a child. I've heard that so many times. I don't want kids, but I'll give you a baby. No, thank you. No. But yeah, that's just another little example. I'm hitting a 15-minute mark, so I'm gonna cut this short. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you all. I hope y'all have a great day. Like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great day.